Hello, my name is Annette Dalloo, and you are listening to The Heart of You. I would love it if you take a moment right now to rate this podcast. It really helps the channel. Thank you so much. This is episode 22. And in today's episode, we are going to be talking about channeling. What channeling is, how you can do it, and what exactly it means to channel a message. Stay tuned to the end of the episode where I channel a message for all of you. We've all heard that expression, oh, I've been channeling my inner goddess, or I've been channeling this particular person, while you are doing something like writing or any sort of artwork or music or anything like that. People use that term on a regular basis, that they are channeling somebody in particular. So if you happen to be a composer, you might be saying, oh, I'm channeling Bach or I'm channeling Rachmaninoff. So let's decode that a little bit. What exactly does it mean to channel something? Ultimately, what it means is that you are tapping into a particular energy. Now, that energy can be anything. It can be something specific. It could be something from the past. It can be somebody from the present. It can also just be a collective energy channel. There are many, many ways in which you can do this, and I will go into those ways throughout the course of this episode. What channeling is essentially you are tapping into the energy and you are receiving messages through your higher self, through your intuition, and through the universe itself. It's almost as if the words that are coming to you are not actually your own, but they are in fact words that are coming from another source of some sort. The one thing I want to mention is that when I do channeling in my sessions, which I do on a pretty regular basis, I often don't actually even remember what it is that I said when I'm channeling. Now, I want to sort of clarify this because some people may say, well, maybe you're channeling some negative energies or anything like that. And I want to assure you that when you set the intention to channel something in particular, you are tuning into that particular frequency. So as long as you are not trying to tune into any sort of negative energies, you're going to be just fine. If you are channeling anything in particular, you are essentially grabbing on to the information that is available in universal consciousness. That universal knowledge is available to everyone on this planet. It's just a matter of whether or not you have the knowledge and the ability to tap into it in any particular moment. I feel like majority of people who are creatives, so anybody who is an artist or who is a writer, anyone who does creative things probably has gotten into that channeling energy at some point. I remember when I was back in college and I was in art school, they used to make us do these things called charrettes. So what that meant is that we had to sit down and just draw. We would just draw very, very quickly. You draw anything that comes to mind. You just keep on drawing. And it doesn't have to be perfect. It just has to come out. And they would actually assign us to do these charrettes for hours on end. I think the longest charrette we ever did was about 8 hours. So you sit down for 8 hours and you just draw and you draw and you draw. Essentially, whatever comes out of that is that spark of inspiration. So maybe out of the 8 hours of drawing, you may get maybe 2 or 3 different images or drawings that you did that are really beautiful or really inspirational or gives you an idea for another piece of artwork that you want to do. The reason why they had us do this exercise is because you are getting into the flow. You're tapping into the flow of the universe. You're tapping into that subconscious, and you are letting your brain, your conscious self, your ego take a back seat. You're allowing whatever flows through you to come out in the pen and paper, or if you're working on the computer, if you're writing, having that come out in pen and paper. It is just a way to be able to tap into the essence of whatever it is you are trying to create. Now, this can be used for several different things. If you are not a creative person and you have a tendency to be more on the logical side of things, this can also be used for any sort of ideas for your life. So if, let's say, you're in finance and you're trying to navigate your way through the numbers, channeling can actually help navigate the best possible route that you can take in order to get to the final answer for the final equation. If you are wanting to start a new business, it's another way that you can actually tap into all of that information to find the best solution or the best approach for your business. So if you are writing a mission statement, or if you are trying to come up with the foundation of the reason why you are creating this business, tapping into that channeling will help you come up with the best possible mission statement, the best possible foundation for the business that you are trying to create. And in fact, you might get information that is completely different from what you had originally been thinking for the business idea. You might come up with something that is actually much better than what you had originally planned. So let's start with how to tap into that channeling energy. When you first start out, you don't necessarily need to channel anything in particular. It is just about getting into that flow state. It's about letting that ego self, the conscious mind, to take a back seat. So the best way to do that is to get into some sort of meditative state. So however you do that is perfectly fine, whether it is actually sitting down and doing a meditation, or if it is just writing and writing and writing until you get to a place where you are no longer thinking about what you are writing. You're just in the flow and you're writing. And I'm sure you've heard many authors say this, oh, well, I actually just wrote down the words, but I was channeling the book. The whole book was channeled. Or I got the idea from the universe. It just sort of came to me. And that's one of those phrases that people say, oh, it just came to me. Well, yeah, it came to you because you were tapped into that universal consciousness. Getting into that meditative state is super important to be able to consciously channel. There are plenty of times when we all channel things and we don't actually realize that we're doing it. Once you are in that meditative state, then you can actually start doing whatever it is that you are going to do in order to get the channeled message out. Now, there are many, many different ways that you can channel. For me personally, the way that I channel is simply to get into that state of flow and I just speak. Most of these podcasts that I've recorded, in fact, are actually channeled. Yes, I come up with a brief outline of the subject matter that I'm going to be speaking about, but for the most part, I get into that state and I just start talking. And it's in that flow that those universal messages can start coming into your consciousness. And then they come out either in speech. Another way that you can channel is through writing. And that is also known as automatic writing. Writing is a beautiful way to get out the channeled message because you can really just allow your pen to do the work. You can allow the keyboard to do your work, and you just let the words come as they will. Now, writing for me is a little bit more difficult because it's almost as if I can't type as fast or I can't write as fast as the messages are coming. So for me personally, it is just easier for me to speak as I'm channeling. And it's actually important when you are doing vocal channeling that you actually speak the words, because I have tried to channel in the past where I've just been doing it in my own head as opposed to speaking the words. Sometimes that becomes a little bit more muddled or difficult because I'm not able to really separate the messages that I'm getting from my actual brain activity. And even if you are in a meditative state, those sort of thoughts that come in, they ebb and flow. They come in, they come out. They are not necessarily part of that flow of channeling. So when I am channeling verbally, I am tapping into that universal consciousness. If I wanted to tap into a particular energy, then I would simply just set the intention of channeling a particular energy. So, for example, if you want to take Kuan Yin, Kuan Yin is a Buddhist goddess from Chinese origin, and she is the pinnacle of mercy, compassion, kindness, love. She is the goddess who embodies divine feminine. So if you wanted to channel her, you would simply sit in that meditation and invite in the energy of Kuan Yin and sit with that energy. Maybe if you have an image of Kuan Yin, you can meditate on that. And then you can ask Kuan Yin to be with you in that meditation and allow you to be able to channel the messages from her directly. You may wonder, okay, so if I'm actually calling in Kuan Yin, am I channeling her specifically? Well, the answer is yes. If that is what your intention is, then that is who you are going to channel. In the various different channelings I've done throughout my sessions, it's interesting because when I speak, my voice does change slightly based on the energy that I am actually channeling. There have been times when I have channeled loved ones that have passed over, where I have channeled messages from other people's angelic team. There have been certain energies of certain angels that I have channeled that have been very direct, straight to the point. They don't mix words. They just tell you exactly how it is. And then there have been other angel energies that I've channeled where it's just this bubbly laughter, giggling, just happiness, all of these things that are associated with the energy of that particular angel. And that makes sense because we have angels in our life that carry various different traits that assist us on our life's journey. So, for example, if you are in need of more laughter and more joy in your life, one of your guardian angels might have more of that in their energetic presence. If you are writing down your channeling, you may not get this nuanced difference in the tone of voice that you are channeling through the writing, but you will feel the energy. You will feel the difference in the energy as you are writing or as you are channeling whatever it is that you are channeling. And if you are channeling just general universal consciousness, general universal energies, and you are feeling a particular quality of that energy, the really cool part is that you can actually ask who it is that you're channeling. You can ask, who is this that I'm speaking to? Who is this that is speaking through me? Now, you remember that part in Harry Potter where Harry is writing in Ginny Weasley's diary, and he's writing the question, and Tom Riddle writes the answer in the book. Yes, of course, that's Voldemort, and, that's a nasty, nasty energy, and you don't want to pull that into your energy field. But the concept is kind of the same. If you want to know answers to particular questions, you can actually write them down and allow the automatic writing to answer the question for you. When I first started doing this, I thought it was total crazy pants. I was like, okay, I'm writing down questions and then I'm writing down the answers myself. That's just what's happening. And yes, that may be the case when you first start doing the channeled messages. But after you get into the flow and after you start understanding how the process works, you can really start to see the difference in quality of the answers. If I were to write down a question and I write down the answer through the channeled message, I look back on all of those messages and you can see the difference in tone. You can see the difference in writing style, in vocabulary that is used. Another really key point is that when you are asking a collective energy, a lot of times they will answer with we. Meaning that if you ask a question such as, is it in my highest good to take this job? You might hear, or you might write, we want you to know that this job is for your highest good. You will learn lessons. You will meet people that will help you elevate your career in the future. Even though this particular job may not look like something that you really want to take, we are telling you right now that it is in your highest good. And actually, that may have been a message for one of you out there. And how do you know if that message was for you? Because you know that it'll resonate with you. So if you're feeling like once you heard that message, you're like, yes, that's totally what I'm going through, or that's totally what's happening in my life right now, then you know that message is for you. When you are just starting out with channeling, whether you're writing or whether you're speaking the channeling, I would highly recommend that you either record the channeling, or when you're writing it down, definitely save all of those channelings. Because the one thing that is going to build your confidence in the messages that you are receiving is being able to look back on the messages months and months and months after you have received the channel. Because then you can see how things have evolved in your life, and you can see where the channeling was pertinent and was absolutely applicable to the situation that you were asking about. Now we've covered two of the ways that you can use channeling. The first is through creative ideas and getting creative inspiration. The second would be to get messages from your angelic team or from anyone else that you want to tap into within the universal consciousness. The third thing you can do is actually tap into energies to get answers from the past. It's a really cool thing to be able to do because you can talk to figures from history. You can talk to any sort of person that you want to talk to. You have to make sure that when you are talking to these people and these energies that you are doing it safely, that you are protecting your energy. I have heard that another way that you can utilize channeling is to be able to tap into particular talents. So if you wanted to be better at a language, or if you wanted to be better at painting or some other type of talent, you can actually tap into the energies of a particular person who was really good at those things. Personally, I have not been able to do that successfully because if I had, my French would be way better than it is. But I have heard of people being able to do that. It's not impossible. It just may be a little bit more of a difficult task than the other types of channeling and the other ways of channeling that I've been speaking of. And the one thing that I know is that just because it cannot be done now doesn't mean that it won't happen in a future timeline. Because where I am currently, I am able to access various different things in terms of channeling. But maybe in several years, when my vibration is even higher than it is now, maybe that's when I'll be able to tap into those types of talents and energies. You never know. You never know when these things are going to pop up. Also, it could have something to do with your natural talents. So for me, as I was saying, my natural talent is to speak in channeling. My natural talent does not lie in writing. I can tell you that. I have done it. I have done the automatic writing, and it's fun, and I really do like it. It's just not the most efficient way for me to do it. Whereas if you are a writer and you are a really good writer, that might be the best option for you. So it really does depend on your natural gifts and your natural talents for what your soul has experienced in the past, as well as what your human self is experiencing in this particular lifetime. And I'm saying this because if you try to channel, if it doesn't come right away, or if you feel like it's not really working, don't get discouraged. Because I've been working at this for many, many years, and it takes a long time to really get comfortable and to really understand the messages that you are getting and allow that flow to come. I can tell you that when I first started doing the automatic writing, as I mentioned earlier, it felt really kind of I don't know, odd, I guess. I just kind of was like, okay, I don't know if this is actually working. I don't know if it's something that is actually a channeling. I think this might just be thoughts in my head. And that's sort of part of the process. It's part of the process of figuring out, okay, well, maybe the first few sentences you wrote are actually thoughts in your head, but as you let go and get into the flow, maybe the last paragraph that you wrote is actually the channeling. As with anything, it's all about practice, practice, practice. If you have any questions about channeling or anything else, in fact, that I speak of on this podcast, feel free to reach out to me. I offer spiritual guidance sessions where I can actually give you some individualized attention. I can really help you tap into those natural gifts that you have and identify the places in which your soul wants you to go. So now I'm going to start the channel for the collective. And what I mean by that is that this is just a general message for anybody who is listening at this moment. We understand that this is a very difficult time for you on this planet. There are many things that are going on right now that are challenging for you, both personally and globally. But we want you to understand that all of the things that are happening are, in fact, divinely guided. They are guided from the standpoint of things need to happen in order for old processes, old ideals, and old belief systems need to fall away. They need to be eradicated from this planet, and they need to be integrated into the consciousness of the collective. People need to understand that whatever is going on within you right now, it is all part of the process. It is part of the process of ascension. Earth has already begun her ascension. People have already begun their ascension. It is something that has been going on for a very, very long time. It has been the process of elimination of energies that no longer serve you. And this happens on every single level. It happens on the level of your person, your aura, your auric field, your higher self, your soul, your oversoul, all of the places in which you hold information from the past, it will now begin to fall away. That is happening in places as well. If you live in a country where there are ideals and belief systems that no longer belong, they are now falling away. In order for them to fall away and make room for new energies, everything needs to be risen to the top and seen and noticed and appreciated for what they are. And by appreciation, we don't mean that it is something that you deem acceptable. By appreciation, we mean that it is something that you accept that is part of your past without judgment. Judgment is where you get stuck. You get stuck in the judgment of others, in the judgment of everybody else's path. You have to understand that judgment is part of that separation. It is part of creating that duality within society. If you can remove judgment from your energetic field, you will be able to sit in a place of peace within yourself and thereby be able to give that peace and that example to others. If you hold space for others to have the experiences that they are going to have, then you will allow them to be able to come to the same conclusion that you have, which is to ascend, which is to be in those energies that are of higher love, of unconditional love, of a beautiful vibration that is closer to source. We want you to understand that on the surface, it looks like everything is falling apart. And it is falling apart from one perspective. From one perspective, everything is falling apart in order to make room for the new energies. This can be scary for a lot of people, but we want you to understand that this is supposed to happen. Everything that is meant to happen will happen within this current timeline. We want you to understand the difference between timelines. Just because you are on the current trajectory in your planet's timeline doesn't mean that it needs to stay on this current trajectory. The higher the vibration of the planet, the higher timeline your planet is going to be on. If you feel like energies are jumping back and forth, you are feeling exactly what is happening. What is happening on this planet is to be able to ascend, transmute, and embrace all of the experiences that you all have experienced as souls and as residents of this planet. Your individual experiences can make all the difference in the world. Many of you say that you are only one person and you cannot make a difference, and this could not be more untrue. Your particular energetic signature and your vibration and the elevation of that vibration makes every difference in the world. One person and their energy can change the course of the trajectory of a timeline. Many of you coming together in meditation, many of you coming together as you have been in the recent months, coming together to be able to transmute energy and to put yourselves on a higher timeline has been effective. There are multiple timelines in multiple dimensions, and we want you to understand that every bit of your energy that is put into a higher timeline is effective. You may feel like one person's energy is going to have an effect in a negative sense on this planet, and that can also be true. But that one person's energy can be transmuted by the collective whole. So keep doing the work that you are doing as light workers. You are doing an amazing, amazing job. Whether or not you realize that you are doing this work or not, you are having a profound effect on your planet, and things will start to get better in your 3D consciousness, in your 3D world. Things will start to get better after this last bit of energy that needed to come to the surface to be cleared. After that energy is gone, you will be able to build anew. You will be able to create in this vast expanse of consciousness. You will have so many opportunities that are available for you in so many different ways. We just need you to understand that this does take time. This will happen in most of your lifetimes, but there will be challenges along the way. We want you to be conscious observers. We want you to not get tied up in the negativity and all of the things that people on this planet do to pull your energy down into the negativity. We do have to dive down into our shadow, which is not the same as diving into negativity. Diving into your shadow is being able to look into those places that you don't want to look. We all have shadow parts of ourselves. We all have shadows that we need to look at in order to integrate, accept, and change. We all have those parts of ourselves that we don't love. We all have those things that we will change. Negativity is different because it is simply a belief system or a construct based on what other people are telling you out of their own fear. That is what we want you to stay away from. We want you to know that you are all eternally loved. We want you to know that we are here for you anytime you need us. We want you to know that moving forward on the path that you are currently on is exactly where you need to be. Please don't worry about the trajectory of where you are going and where you are going on this planet. It is, in fact, going in the right direction, even if it does not look like it is. When you are doing shadow work as an individual, you understand that it goes in a cyclical process. When you elevate to certain portions of your energy, You feel like you're completely out of your shadow. But then there are times when you dive back deep into that shadow and you wonder why it looks like you are moving backwards. That is similar to what is happening on the planet now. You are, in fact, not moving backwards, you are moving forwards. But in order to move forward, you need to look back at some of the things that were done on this planet that were not aligned with love. And in order to move forward in that space of love, those issues need to be dealt with, and they need to be dealt with quickly. We want you to understand that you can always ask us for our help no matter how big the task. We cannot stress this enough. If you need to know who is speaking with you right now, these are Annette's angels. We are giving you this message through her, and she is giving you this message through this medium to be able to allow you to receive it. Thank you so much. I hope that channeling was helpful for you. You can contact me on my website at infinitesoulLove.com and on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube at Infinite Soul Love 1111.